Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Coffee. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. And as always, thank you for all your support, including sharing, chatting, liking, and subscribing. Now roll that famous logo animation. Good evening and welcome back to Computerized Start Live. I'm your host, Justin D. Morgan, and it is slightly warmer today than it was Tuesday night. And Scarlet the Four-Eyed Cuda says, I need a clock. I would like you to know I have a clock, and I believe I clicked start 2 minutes late, which is not bad considering that I almost forgot to go looking for these. But this actually isn't the tube I was looking for, but it's a close substitute. All right, we also have Thomas Armstrong, who says, Eep. We have Jack68K. Hi, Jack and Thomas. And Tom. Hi. We have both a Thomas Armstrong and a Tom Armstrong. We have a Retrotech Chris. Hi, Chris. Chris, I would like you to know I am not an Easy Pass fugitive. The charge finally went through the West Virginia system today. The toll was only $1. So apparently they either read my transponder or matched the plate. Beats me which happened because I can't tell from the data the West Virginia system's giving me. We also have I38386SX. Hi, Jesse. Jesse says, I have several regrets, but no board like this. Jack68K is asking, what's the temperature in your basement tonight? All right. It is currently a balmy, and I'll actually go to table cam so that you can see the proof here. It was actually 42 point something when I got down here, but I have turned heaters on. It's currently 43.5 degrees Fahrenheit, 40% humidity. That is actually a bit colder than it was Tuesday night. However, it's not as cold outside now as it was Tuesday night, so go figure. I at least don't feel any cold breezes blowing through cracks in the basement. So there's that. 237 Kelvin. Yeah, nice one. All right, let's see here. Channel announcements. All right. I have been accepted as an exhibitor at VCF East. So, well, I've got a coffee goal to help me get there because there are many things I need to get to be able to finish computers for the exhibit and to do the exhibit itself. At some point, I'm going to do a video on what I would like to exhibit so you know where that money will be going. Oh, hi, Jeremy. Welcome. A space heater under the bench would be nice. Well, how do you know I don't have a space heater under the bench? Because I do, but it's only small enough to really get my feet. Oh, the other thing is the orange glowy orb behind me. I only turned it to low tonight because I figured that would be enough. Oh, and actually it's already up to 44.6. So yes, I think it will warm up to a decent temperature fairly soon. So yes, the coffee goal, that's going to be now I picked a number. You might look at that number and you're like, Justin, you're crazy, but I picked a number that I wanted to be sure would cover everything. At some point, I'm actually going to have to sit down and come up with an actual number. But remember, that's kind of like parts to finish exhibits, a nice tablecloth with my brand printed on it, stickers, getting up there, yada, yada, yada. So anyways, my basement does have HVAC ducting, but it's nothing vented down here. I see little use in actually opening up vents down here in the basement until it's insulated, because concrete basically has no insulative value. So there's little sense in heating the basement given the fact that there's no insulation to hold the heat in. And I kind of estimate, given lumber prices and insulation prices, that I don't know that I guess if I was to give a I guess an order of magnitude estimate to insulating the basement, I think we're somewhere around $10,000. Because it's definitely more than $1,000, but it's definitely less than 100,000. So 10,000 seems like the order of magnitude estimate. Maybe it's not quite 10,000. I haven't really looked at how much insulation costs, but there's a lot of wall down here to insulate, and I'd have to put stud cavities up to do it. And I'd have to pull I think I would have to pull a permit to do it because yay, Virginia. There are actually states where I could get away with insulating the basement without pulling a permit. Virginia is not really one of them. They will find out sooner or later. Jeremy says, I'm so glad my new place has central air and no basement. Ah. Well, that's cool. All right, so let's see. I think that's pretty much the channel announcements. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap up another video. Then I'm hoping to get like the first part video in the Quest to VCFE series, because I want to maybe kind of describe what I'd like to exhibit, because I'd like to get people behind it, because I definitely want to go. And there's some good exhibits that are going to be here this year. Because, remember, I'm at like 462 subscribers, I think. So, I'm still not getting any of those sweet, sweet YouTube pennies from AdSense advertising. I'll let larger channels chime in as to how accurate that statement is when you only hit the bare minimum for YouTube Partner Program. And that's assuming that some big YouTuber doesn't screw it up for the rest of us by, like, doing something really stupid and advertisers pull out en masse from YouTube. Yes, you all know who the big YouTubers are that ruined it for everyone else. So I need name no names that I've already forgotten about, because, yeah, exactly. All right, let's see here. So, also, I really would like to get a Wheel of Regret animation, which I haven't found anything on Amazon stock that comes close to what I want. I do need help, though. When you imagine Wheel of Regret, do you imagine like a Wheel of Fortune style wheel? Yes, you do, probably. Your other option is like a Price is Right style wheel. But anyways, yeah. I'd also have to figure out what the spaces would be, although the Wheel of Regret would have many, many more spaces that are bankrupt, lose a turn, and other things like that than Wheel of Fortune. It would probably be like the exact opposite, where basically you have a like two or three spaces that are good, and all the others are like really, really bad. Jesse says, granted, I'm not trying that hard to grow the brand, quote, but I'll take that big YouTube money. Jack says you could do a Plinko of Regret. Oh, that's also good, but I'm pretty sure the Price is Right would get mad at Plinko of Regret. But anyways, yeah. Oh, Jesse says my channel made a whopping $15 something since I went to 1,000 subs. Yeah. As Scarlett says, I would love to have a basement. Yep. Drop a hard drive down the Plinko of Regret. Yeah. All right. Yeah. That's a good one. So anyways, so Wheel of Regret. This could be a regret. Unfortunately, I don't have like everything I would like to fix this board. But Oh, that's right. Also, while I'm working on this tonight, I do have a couple video cards I need to test to for they were, well, someone needs a video card, and I need to test some that were in a free pile. So I thought tonight would be as good a night as any. Jesse says, "How about a 1.6 gigabyte Mac store?" Yes, that's actually the exact. That's the exact size I regret that I am looking for, because I have so far managed to find many, and they're either overpriced or um, over bad sectored. Jeremy says $15 is enough for a Whopper, barely. Yes. Um, Also, speaking of Wheel of Regret, that seems to be every time I go to Burger King. Yeah. All right. So we have, yes, we have this wonderful board here. Oh, also one other channel. And oh, cool. Chris says I have a couple of 400 gigabyte hard drives for me. Yes, excellent. Tom Armstrong says, wait till your memory is like mine. No regrets. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, someday in the future it'll be Wheel of Regret. I forgot what I bought. All right, this has been Wheel of Regret. Yes. So, one other thing I was going to put in channel announcements. This is not a Visa local bus slot. All right, channel announcements over. Please do not ask me to put a Visa local bus header in that or slot there, because I've learned from some of the best that is not a Visa local bus slot, despite the fact that it looks like a Visa local bus slot that's not populated, despite the fact that is the pinout for the connector that would go there if it was Visa local bus. That is actually some proprietary expansion connector that is definitely not Visa local bus and will destroy a Visa local bus card should you put a connector there and plug it in. Chris says my board is slightly different than mine. Okay. Yeah, Jeremy, that is not a Visa local bus slot. The big bad biologist found out the hard way. If I remember to go look up the live stream where he had one like this, and he put a Visa local bus connector here and jammed a Visa local bus card into it and let the magic smoke out. Yes, Chris is ever observant that my board is missing a crystal. Yes, we'll get to that momentarily. Also, Chris, you're probably, if you look a little closer as I zoom in, you'll probably notice it is missing something else too. Anyways, so this board is on the retro web. We will see if this BIOS is archived, but it is an FX3000D revision 1.0. Chris says, to be fair, it's also missing a CPU. Yes, we'll get to that in a moment. But it is missing something else. Which is why I have a tube of VIA chips on my bench. Although I was looking for my Intel chips. Yeah, it's missing the keyboard controller. So, Jeremy says, my leading edge Pentium 60 has a similar thing going on. Yeah, there were actually more proprietary slots for 386 boards than I realized. And there are a bunch of them that all used Visa local bus style slots. It's like either they got this really bad idea to reuse the connector that the Visa Standards Committee was proposing, or the Visa Standards Committee looked at all these other motherboards and how that slot looked just ideal and was like, well, let's copy that. But there are actually, I think, from what I can tell on my brief research, I don't remember where I read all these, I think there are at least 2 different proprietary expansion slot schemes that look like Visa local bus, and they are not compatible with each other. Oh, okay. Um, yeah, RetroTech Chris says mine's a FX3000, not a FX3000D. My Gateway 2000 tower is a FX3000D in it. Yes. So, yeah, there's at least like two different proprietary standards that both look like they both use basically it's the microchannel style expansion slot. Visa Local Bus just like flipped it around. It's like there's two different ones that did the same thing. I don't know. Maybe they were really thinking that IBM did a. Did I say Microsoft microchannel? No, I said IBM microchannel. I'm pretty sure I did that Microsoft microchannel. No, Microsoft would have come up with some even worse scheme. They're a software company. At least they definitely were a software company back then. All right, so what am I going to do here? So I do have to fix the fact there's no keyboard controller. And I was really hoping that I'd remember what I did with my short tube of Intel keyboard controllers. I suspect this board will probably. I don't have any reason to believe that it won't work with a VIA one or VIA or however you want to say it. Because these are basically a clone of the. Was it 8742? But if this keyboard controller doesn't work, then I'll have to go find the tube of Intel ones. We'll just say that the VIA ones were much cheaper than the Intel ones. No, Jeremy. I do not need to test that to be a Visa Local Bus slot. I've already looked it up. This is not Visa Local Bus. The thing is, yes, these pins do go straight to the processor. It is not Visa Local Bus. I do not need the continuity test. It is already out there on the internet. Warnings that this board is not Visa Local Bus. So there is no need to confirm what the internet is saying, because it's already out there that this is not a Visa Local Bus board. If there's mixed information, then sure, I'd continuity test and confirm. However, it is pretty evident by all the information on the internet that 100% that is not Visa Local Bus. So, yeah. Well, Jeremy, I'm saying that emphatically so that if anyone is watching this live stream and they're like, if they completely ignore me, then, well, they can't say I didn't try to warn them that this one on this board is not Visa Local Bus. Because, yeah. So I am trying to make sure that, because now there are other boards that it's not as definite, but I'm just wanting to make sure that if I see someone in the comments say that, I tried to put a Visa Local Bus slot there and it blew up and blah, 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 you didn't warn me, well, then I know they didn't watch the video. And I'll probably just delete their comment then, because Jeremy would probably be the first to agree that, yeah, the warning is definitely there for anyone to have been warned. Yeah, Tom Armstrong said they made some odd memory cards for those boards. Yeah. I think in the case of this motherboard, the reason it's unpopulated is I don't think they ever made any expansion cards for it. There are the other motherboard manufacturer that made one of these expansion slots very similar to this, I think there actually is a video card out there that was made for it, which scares me that there are cards out there that look like Visa Local Bus, but they aren't, and I don't know how to differentiate the two. I mean, I would presume if it's just an ISA RAM card, it would work in here, maybe, but why would you want to? this board will support up to 32 megabytes of memory. I think that's including if you're using a 386. But at the moment, okay, so I put the keyboard controller in. I do not know if it's going to work in this board. If it doesn't, I'll have to go find my Intel controllers. So it'll support up to 32 megabytes of RAM, and we'll get to that in a moment. I'm going to swipe it off another board. I'm just trying to confirm that I didn't, like, hide the other board from myself. Well, actually, it does look like I did. Okay. So this board, I think it's got, it's got cache. I think I tallied it up. It's 128K of cache on it. All right. The crystal. Now, here's the problem. I'm fairly certain that I need to put a... Frank says I am hashtag just in time. Yeah. Nice one, Frank. I'm pretty sure I need to put a oscillator in here that's twice the clock speed. Now, unfortunately, I have yet to receive the 66 megahertz oscillators that I purchased, knowing that that I had this board. So, I don't have any 66 megahertz oscillators. I looked on my 386 or my 486 board that I thought might have a 66 megahertz oscillator, and I'll have Chris confirm that that probably is the one I want, because he's got one of these 3000Ds that I think he picked up in Maryland Sunday. I'm pretty sure it's got a 66 megahertz oscillator on it, or like a 50 or something. I don't know what processor speed's on it. Chris could probably confirm that, yeah, I need a clock doubled one. But, I don't have a 66 megahertz. I don't have a 50 megahertz. I don't really have much of anything that's close to what I would like to put in here. So unfortunately, we're only going to be able to test this with a much slower crystal. I'm trying to find the fastest one that I have on hand. Okay, well, that's a 40. That's a 32. Alright, I guess I'm probably just going to go with a 40 megahertz, because that's about the fastest I have on hand at the moment, until my oscillators that... Yeah, alright. Jeremy's confirming double the CPU speed. Alright, so I've got... Oh, nope. I don't think the 40 megahertz one's going to work. I don't think the pins are long enough. Okay. Looks like it might have been removed from a board. Alright, I guess I'll have to go with the 32 megahertz, because I think the 40 megahertz one was clipped off a board and was clipped a bit short. So that means it's only going to run at 16 megahertz. Well, the reason I was asking, though, is my 486 board I have upstairs, it has a 33 megahertz oscillator on it. But it appears as if it's not clock doubled, or it's actually using a clock synthesizer, and that oscillator is used for something else. I can't tell. Oh, hi, old computer rebuilds. Welcome. Yes. Retrotech Chris says, ha, my BIOS doesn't even have auto-detect hard drive. Well, we'll see what this one has, even though it will be slower than I would like. But at least 32 megahertz should give me a 16 megahertz clock for the CPU. Hey, I guess on the bright side, we'll be able to see what a 16 megahertz 486 would have been like. Yes, I realize that's one of those things that's like, no one, like a meme that says, no one, ... Justin D. Morgan. Hey, let's run this 486 at 16 megahertz! Yeah, because that megahertz. Thank you. I'll be here all week. All right. All right, Chris is going to pop open the gateway and see what it has. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to have a clock doubled I mean, now, if for some reason this board doesn't use a clock double because it's got a clock synthesizer to double it for us, then we might actually... get very close to what I would like to do. All right. Okay, so I think this is just like 4 megabytes of RAM. I'm pulling it off my other 386 board. So I hate to say it, this 3/486 board might replace my PC chips motherboard. Because, I mean, why would I want one of these if I've got this? Oh, okay. Frank S says, I have a gateway box in my garage, the one that looks like a cow. Ha ha ha! Ah, that's pretty good. All right. So, because I don't really want to pull the CPU off that board, I am going to try this. Well, actually, maybe I'm not going to try this 386. All right, let's see how this 386 goes in. All right, I believe that the 386 processor goes in this direction because I think there's the alignment mark and there's the notched corner. And I will have you know this is a double sigma 386DX16. So we could actually run a 32-bit operating system with this and not have to worry about the bug that's in the very earliest ones and the ones that were marked 16-bit software only. Oh, all right, I gotta very carefully bend a few pins back into shape. Or, nope, the other 386 processor also has a few bent pins, so... well, the 16's good enough for testing if I can get it in, but it's got some bent pins, and I might have to just pull the 40 out of my other board and go with it. I'm trying to find something to help me bend the pins back into shape. Oh, here we go. This budget might help. Hey, Will Jr. 880. I am fixing some CPU pins that I accidentally bent. I pulled this out of a system and I think I remember having a bit of trouble getting it out. And I may have also accidentally bent some pins in handling it. I didn't exactly have this processor in the best of location. Because when I pulled it out of that system, I didn't have any anti-static foam, so... Alright. Alright, let's see if that is... Yep, I also have another processor that came out of a system that someone had souped up by putting a faster processor in it, but, well, that's all they did. They only put a faster rated processor in it, so needless to say, that system was not actually going faster than... I think that person got a placebo effect, unfortunately. Alright. Chris says, Gateway has a 33 megahertz crystal with a 66 megahertz CPU. I suspect that gateway probably has a clock synthesis. Well, it actually might depend on the if you're using a 386 or a 486. Because I know 386s require an oscillator that's like twice the frequency of the processor. I think the 386 has a built-in clock divider. I quite honestly thought it was really weird that they divided the clock instead of taking the clock at the right speed, but I'm sure there's probably some reason why it takes a doubled signal. Maybe it's because it's got some phased lock loops internally or something. Maybe internally it's got like a clock 1 and a clock 2, and it does some things on like the on cycle and some on the off, and it was easier for them to take a 2x clock and divide it down to make the internal clocks. There we go. All right. Got the 386DX in. It's possible this board maybe needs a 2x for a 386, but maybe if you're using a 486, maybe not. So we'll give it a try. Now, of course, because I want to add a little bit of danger into the mix, because you're probably thinking to yourself, why are there so many pins for a 486? Because that's an awful lot of pins for a 486, and well, you'd be right. But that is because the inner pins are for a 387DX. Yeah, Chris is saying, I thought DX2 was 33 external, 66 internal. Jeremy says, pushing a CPU with thin gold legs into those sockets is a bit unnerving. Yeah, and it didn't help that I had some bent pins, so until I got them unbent enough that they lined up enough to go in, it was... Not only was it unnerving, but it was not going to happen. Alright, I'm trying to get this open. Oh, there we go. Alright, the fun thing is going to be to try to decipher the alignment mark for the 387DX. Alright. I believe this is the alignment mark for the 486. I believe the inner mark is the alignment for the 387. And the reason I believe that is because if we look at this socket here, there are 3 pins that are not populated. And if you look at this, there are 4 pins that are missing. But I believe this pin that's going to be right here, I believe, give or take a pin, is actually going to be if you're using a 387. So I believe that is pin 1 for a 486, which would mean that to use this 387, it goes that way. Hi, Adam McGee. You got Choco 386 and my Peanut 486. Good one, Adam. All right. Because if I'm going to test this board, I'm going to go all the way. Test it with an FPU. Because I'm crazy. Well, that would help if I started talking again. All right, folks, Chris gave me a call because obviously I was looking at the RetroWeb and not the chat. Sorry about that. Oh, no. All right. Thanks, Chris. Bye. Okay, RetroTech Chris to the rescue. All right. I do not know why my sound is lost. I thought this was things that only happen on the Mac version of OBS. Apparently, OBS hates me, so I don't know what the problem is. But I need to find a way to monitor the chat when I can't monitor the chat. So if I have no sound, please tag me. Oh, wait. Actually, I don't know that that works on the OBS chat view. Right. I don't know where I stopped. Anyways, my OBS is being mean to me. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why my sound just suddenly disappears. It seems to be around the time when OBS starts warning me that my bitrate went to 0, but if I'm looking at the retro web, I can't see OBS's warnings or the chat. But the thing is, it doesn't always track with that. Oh, hi, Will. Okay, Mac Vintage is here. Separate screen for the chat. Well, all right, here's my problem, Jack. I have 2 monitors hooked to this PC. The one in front of me is the one that I can see most readily. The other one is to my left, and my microphone is in the way of it. I can't really put the chat there because then I can't see the chat. But I also really can't use the retro web on that screen because then I'm like looking away from the chat. There's no good answer. Yeah, my sound bitrate went to Z. Yeah, I know. Adam says I don't route any sound through OBS. Well, the problem is, Adam, I am actually using OBS to stream directly to YouTube because that doesn't cost money. I'm going to sign up for some service, and that way at least the sound would go through the website. But I don't use StreamYard because of their audio bitrate limitation. It makes my custom music sound awful. So that's why I don't use StreamYard for my streams. Adam McG says, get those Apple goggles and put the chat in your eyeball. Well, I'd rather go to VCF East. All right, well, I don't know where the sound broke off, but you probably missed me complaining about the fact that I think whoever had this board at one point removed all the jumpers. I mean, like all the jumpers and the keyboard controller, and and the oscillator, but I should at least be glad that they left the BIOS chip. Of course, at that point, I don't know why they didn't yank the cache chips and the BIOS chip, and why not desolder all the through-hole components too at that point. But all right, I guess I should at least be glad that they stopped their pillaging and plundering with obviously the CPU, possibly the FPU, the jumpers, the oscillator, and the keyboard controller. Scrappers can be funny sometimes. All right, so I'm looking at the retro web. I will try to alt-tab back and forth in case the sound goes out again. There's always the option that I will get a personalized notification on my phone, aka RetroTech Chris will call me again, but hopefully I'll get I'll get the jumpers fixed here real quick, and I'll be able to look at the screen more. All right. I can definitely tell the jumpers have been removed because the cache requires jumpers. So for 128K of cache, which I believe this is because these are 32K chips, I need to jumper open, open, closed, closed. Here. Also, this manual is not marked for this exact board, but at least the jumpers are correct. And then, because I guess they decided that they wanted to make it even more interesting to jumper, then these are 3 positions. So that needs to be 1 and 2. Oh, wait. Oh, I started looking at the wrong jumper settings. Open, open, closed, closed. It needs to be 2 and 3. 1 and 2. 2 and 3, 1 and 2. Whoop. And that one jumper there under between the two chips in the chipset, that's the math coprocessor enabled. All right, so there's the cache jumpers. All right, CPU type configuration for 386DX, JP1 is... Oh, JP1 is right here. So that needs to be pins 1 and 2 closed. And then the rest of the jumpers don't matter for a 386. Because I suspect that jumper changes the behavior of the chipset based on the differences between the two processors. Because I believe the 486 has some more signals than the 386 does. Also, it's probably going to set some multipliers and stuff. Okay. There we go. Now, for our video card selection, I have only the finest, totally finest video cards ever to potentially hit the free pile. Where's Ryan when you need him? Trident video cards. All right. So, first of all, it just dawned on me that I'm about to jam power into this power supply, into this motherboard, and I haven't even bothered to check for shorts yet. So, yes, sorry to those that wanted to see smoke, and I just denied that to you by realizing that I had not continuity checked. I mean, the thing is, there's still the possibility. It just won't be because the tantalum shorted right now. Adam McG says I'm not wearing shorts. It is quite solidly a pants in the basement evening because it's too cold for shorts down here. It's too cold for shorts, and this is definitely a jorts not allowed zone. Of course, it's too cold for those, too. I'm sorry, if you can't come up with a better name than jorts for your, the name of your, pants, or jeans turned into shorts, well, yeah. I'm sorry. It sounds like a bogus name. Cutoffs is, seems to be the better name for me. Jesse says, I already, along with the facilities guy, created magic smoke today changing bulbs. Well, well, I haven't created magic smoke yet today. Alright. I've got power. I got video. I will have power into the power momentarily. Alright. And okay. Let's turn on the smart outlet. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. So smash that like button and subscribe if you're not already, because otherwise you won't get to see such future shenanigans as I'll have with this computer, hopefully. Also, I'm turning on the smart outlet. There we go. All right. The ATX power supply has power. Adam says, Sheens. I thought Sheens was what you went to Sherwin-Williams for. All right. Let me zoom out just a little bit and... Oh, maybe I should record just in case the something does happen. But 3, 2, 1... Oh, I just realized something. I don't have a speaker. Also, I don't have a battery installed in it either, but that's... Oh. Okay, if I need the battery, I just realized that problem is easier solved than I thought. Because the eagle-eyed among you might have already noticed that nowhere on this board have you seen any evidence of a battery whatsoever. This board was probably saved by a Varta bomb, if only for the reason that it uses an external battery. Only. I mean, that's not to say that it couldn't have had some other type of battery leaked on it for sure, but, well, it wasn't going to be a Varta. Alright, well, let me just put my postcard in and plug that into the speaker header, which I think is that one right there. Well, if I can get it plugged in. Some of the pins on this board are slightly bent. There we go. All right. Oh, good night, Frank. All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, well, that's promising. Oh, wait, maybe not. Okay, let me... Yeah, I saw the keyboard flash. All right. Okay, let me see if I can find the little remote display for my postcard analyzer. Because I can't see the postcode. Or I guess I could, okay, I guess I could prop it up. That might also work. Okay, I don't know that foaming glass cleaner is necessarily the best thing to prop it up with, but at least I will be able to see if the postcard is... Yeah, that's reading... That's a nothing. Okay. Alright. First thing I should probably do is... Alright. Remove the math coprocessor and the jumper for it. I suspect that there's still no post... Yeah, we still have hyphens, so it's not posting. Oh, hi, Oh, Francois. Alright. Okay, so that is not posting. Let me look at the jumper settings and see if there's anything I might have missed. Oh, wait a minute. Jumper 3. I missed putting something on jumper 3. This board might potentially care, although I'm surprised it would prevent it from posting, but that's the monitor type jumper. Alright, J3 is probably in some weird part of the board. Oh yeah, right beside the keyboard controller. Okay. So I need pins 1 and 2. Oh, actually there is a jumper on that one, but it is jumpered incorrectly. Okay. Alright, actually in that case I would have expected that it would have probably caused a error. Okay, there we go. Let's try that. Okay, I can see that it is coming out of reset, but it's still not posting. Alright, let me plug a battery in. So J7 is external battery, because some boards don't like to post without a battery. Alright, now of course the awkward thing is I don't know which is positive and which is negative, so I guess I'm going to have to pull the voltmeter out. Alright, let's see here. Alright, so one of these pins is going to be... Alright, excellent. Because if I had an actual battery pack, it would have a key pin on it. There we go. So I think now I should have 3 volts. I may also need to check the voltage of that battery pack. Alright. Still not getting a postcode. Let me check the voltage of that battery pack. It is also possible this board's dead, and I'll have to hopefully... Well, I don't know if this board's dead. I guess our game of Wheel of Regrets might have come to a awfully... Oh. Okay, well, actually, this battery pack is actually dead. That's kind of weird. Okay. I didn't think I had... The thing is, that battery pack was just sitting on my bench. The batteries, though, do appear to be dead. Alright, let me go upstairs and grab some batteries. Oh, hey, V-Borg, welcome! Alright. For those that are just tuning in, I'm trying to get this board to boot. I'm trying to make sure I have a good battery pack. I also just unplugged something from my PC, and I have no idea what it was, so hopefully it wasn't anything important. Just waiting for someone to say you have no sound again. Oh, well, that's interesting. I still have 0 volts. Oh, let me guess. Something's wrong with the wiring of my battery pack. Okay, that's AC, that's DC. Oh, all right. Well, I think my battery pack wiring's to blame. All right. Well, do I have? Okay, I have 3.2 volts at the battery terminals, and I have. Yeah, I'm trying to test the little test at the tab that holds them in, and I believe. Well, oh, that's weird. All right. Well, I'm going to go under the assumption that I just can't get a good reading on the multimeter. Okay. If that doesn't work, then I got other problems with this board, and we'll have to see if I can fix them without modding the board, because the seller has a return policy. Okay. Push pins or bent paper clip cut in two works well. Yeah. Actually, it just dawned on me something. So let's pull the CPU here for a moment. Because it just dawned on me that the reason I pulled these CPUs out of the computer they were in was because I thought the motherboard had failed. But I thought the processors were probably good. However, it is quite entirely possible that maybe the CPU failed, or maybe the motherboard did fail, but it took the CPU out with it. Because maybe it was the power supply of the computer. Anyways, I have another 386 CPU that, let's try it. I pulled it from another system that appeared to be dead, but it's also possible, because I think I put it in the other system during troubleshooting. It is entirely possible that if that first CPU was killed by an errant power supply, that this CPU is going to be dead as well, and I'll have to use my only other 386DX. All right, I hope this one's not dead, because it's a 386. It's an AMD 386DX25. So actually, if I could if I had a 50 megahertz oscillator, I could make a kind of mid-range 38060X system with this. All right. Okay, let's see what that does. Oh, All right, let me see if I can tilt this board so I can make sure all the voltage rails are there. I think they are. Okay, yeah, I think all the voltage rails that should be there on an ISA bus are there. Processor even? No. All right. All right, okay, I've got the keyboard encoder inserted correctly. I think the BIOS chip is in correctly. The RAM is... All right, let me... Oh, that's embarrassing. Okay, fun fact. Just because the sims are numbered 1 through 4 does not mean that that is bank 0. All right. It is... I had the RAM in bank 1. How embarrassing. This is exactly the type of chipset that I would expect might not even do anything if the RAM is not bank 0. Modern computers and modern memory controllers can usually cope with that, but these usually can't. Oh, well. Nope, that wasn't it. Oh, I removed the battery pack. Let me put that back on. So I'm seeing the keyboard LED blink, but that's about it. Alright, I guess maybe this oscillator is not making a good enough contact. Let me just find an oscillator. It's probably going to be completely the wrong speed, according to at least one person on the internet. Okay, well that definitely is not an oscillator I'm looking for. Actually, wait a minute. What did I do with that 40 megahertz? Okay, let me see if I can find that 40 megahertz crystal again. I thought the legs were too short. Maybe I'll actually give it a chance this time. Instead of just assuming the legs are too short. Okay, here we go. Alright. I'm also assuming that pin 1 is for the oscillator is going to be this one here because of where the notch is. Alright. I think it's a fancy oscillator, but it should still be fine. Alright. Actually, that didn't really make maybe that's... Okay. Oscillator's in. Let's give that a try. Yes, Hmm. Okay, maybe that's not it. Unfortunately, my oscilloscope is like, I don't have room for it on the bench because I'm trying to rearrange things, which is kind of annoying. I think my multimeter has a frequency measurement on it. All right, let me see if I can find the pins that I should have a... Have we pulled and reseated the BIOS? No. Especially because I have everything backwards to try to do that. All right. All right, let me try pulling and reseating the BIOS. I don't expect that's going to... Well, okay, if I pull the BIOS, I'm going to try to read the chip. Okay, the BIOS chip does have all of its legs, so this isn't a case of one of the legs was falling off. All right, it is an EEPROM. I'm trying to see if I can pull the label off to get a read as to what type it is. It is a STM27C512. Okay. All right. Since I removed it, I'm just going to try to read it out and see if it even reads out. I luckily think I've got some blanks, just in case. All right. I have to admit I don't always jump to the BIOS is bad when other chips were missing, but the BIOS was there. Okay, it did read out. Interesting. Interesting. It looks like there's two copies of the BIOS in this chip. So now I'm wondering if the manufacturer didn't have... I bet this BIOS would fit on a 27C256. I bet this board is routed for a 27C256. But they had 27C512, so they wrote the image twice to it. 121291. Let me see if the RetroWeb has archived this one. 121291. Oh, wow, this is an old BIOS. No, the RetroWeb has not archived this one. Does look like it read out, though. Although, I mean, there's a section of it that's zeros, but what's to say that the original image used the entire space? Let me see if I can tell how much of it zeros and if it maybe conveniently aligns to a page or something. Because that might be more troubling than if it's just like a... Okay. So the zeros do not start at a page boundary, so that's less concerning than if it was like starting and ending at a page boundary, because that might indicate that the chip was having trouble. But no, it doesn't start at a page boundary, and it's less than a page long, so I think the BIOS image just isn't quite the full length of the half of the chip. And then the second half copy is... Actually, that's really weird. FX 3000 version 1.3, 12, 17, 90. Oh. Here we go. I think I found it on the RetroWeb. So let me load the file I just downloaded, and I'm going to compare it with the... Okay, it's the file I downloaded. Okay, it also has zeros, just like the one that I read out. So that may be fine. So device, verify. All right. The chip I just pulled out of this board is exactly the same as... Oh, all right. Goodbye, VBorg. Okay. So this BIOS matches one on the RetroWeb. So yes, I can tell you this BIOS has been archived. And yes, I can tell you that it matches an image on the RetroWeb. So therefore, if this BIOS chip is bad, then that means the archived BIOS is bad in the same way, which would be really weird. All right, well, I'll put some contact cleaner in that socket, put that chip back down in, and let's go from there. All right. I'm not even going to bother... Oh, that's interesting. The oscillator popped out. I wonder if I'm having trouble... All right, that oscillator's not staying in that socket. All right. I'm going to hold down... All right, let's see if that does anything. No. All right. Well, maybe my next step is... All right. Oh, actually, no. Okay. I was about to use my multimeter because I noticed it had a frequency measurement setting thing. I was going to see if the isobus had a clock on it. I don't know what the I don't remember what the limit is for the ability of my multimeter to read the frequency, but if I'm reading the ISA pinout correctly, there should be a 14.3 megahertz signal, or at least, or that's, or some oscillator signal there. All right, it's reading 5.3 hertz with the board off. Let me see what happens if I turn it on. And interesting. Oh, I turned on hold mode by accident. Oh, it's not reading. It's reading 0. Okay. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That's pin 20. I think pin 20 should be clock. And it's reading 60 hertz. That doesn't seem right. I'm wondering if I've got a problem with the oscillator. Maybe the... Okay, I'm pretty sure I had it in the correct direction. Alright, well. Put the oscillator in. Okay. Now let's see if the postcard sees anything. No. Alright. Every time I lift the board up, I'm looking to see if I see anything I missed. But... oh, I just noticed there's a... one of these sim sockets. The clip is broken. Which is annoying because it's a metal clip, and well, wouldn't expect that to not cause it to post, but let me see if I hold the sim. No. Okay. JP1 should be on 1 and 2 for 386. Yeah, yeah. Yep. So I did have to check the jumpers as 1 and 2. Yep. Hmm. All right, I guess I should. Okay, the problem is my other 386 board here can only do 33 or 40 megahertz. So I don't really expect that. Okay, well, I'm going to do this. So I don't really want to risk my 40 megahertz AMD CPU in case this board is in case this board is killing CPUs. Although that seems highly unlikely. The only thing worse than not having one of these combo boards is not having any 386 board. Because then I would be back to square one there. But I'm trying to think. Would I rather risk a 486 or 386? I think I'd rather risk a 486 because 40 megahertz 386s are a bit hard to come by these days. I mean, not that 486s grow on trees, but they're just a little easier to come by these days. So, all right, I am going to jumper this board for a 486 DX2 because that's what I have. That I'm willing to risk because I think I have a few of them. Actually, I should actually. This is not the one I should. Okay, since I'm not running it at full clock speed anyways, I have a DX2 50 megahertz. I will use that instead. It would be a shame if it gets destroyed because this board is eating CPUs, but it would at least be a little easier to replace than a 40 megahertz 386. Okay, so for 486, JP1 needs to be pins 2 and 3, and then W12 for a DX2. W12 needs to be pin 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, there's 1 and 2. And 3 and 4. And W13 needs to be pins 1 and 2. So let's see. W13 is pins 1 and 2. I believe are those. All right. So now the notch on the 486 should go this direction. There we go. All right. And let's see. Do we post? No. No, we are still not posting. All right. Oh, a bit. Okay. Also, maybe. All right. Maybe for a 486, I need to use a lower oscillator because maybe it's not. Maybe the 486 does not want a clock doubled oscillator. All right. Let me see here. I actually have a. I think I actually have a. Oh, here we go. I have an 18.432 megahertz oscillator right here. Also, the legs are longer on it. Okay, so if this works, then it's possible that the legs on the other oscillators I tried were too short. No. Oh, wait a minute. That keyboard controller wasn't plugged in all the way. I don't think that's it. Alright. Alright, I'll get back to the chat here in a moment. Oh, wow. No. Alright, I'm thinking that maybe I am somehow going to have to find room for the oscilloscope. Alright. Alright. I bet my oscilloscope tops out at 60 hertz. I bet that's the or not my oscilloscope, my multimeter. I think it does see a clock signal, but I don't think it can read it. I, of course, in an effort to yeah, it is not. This board is not posting. I am beginning to think this board might be dead. Actually, about tempted to go check the. Kind of let the seller know that All right. Returns accepted through February 7th. All right. Free returns for any reason. All right. Cache is populated, no battery corrosion. Well, it's beginning to look like this board is going to be an eBay return. I don't think the keyboard controller I'm using, that's probably not the problem. I know this RAM is tested. I know the chat has 0 activity, so for all I know, no one can hear me right now. I see the keyboard LED blink, but I think that might just be the keyboard controller initializing. But I don't ever see anything on the postcard. Is an eBay return different from an eBay regret? Well, an eBay return is a minor eBay regret because in the end I get my money back, but I did expend the time and effort to try to use it. But it's a minor regret. Oh, that's okay. No problem, Jack. When the chat goes silent, I have to wonder, is my audio out again? So thanks for confirming it wasn't out. Okay, I'm it's a lesser regret. But I'm thinking this board is. Yep, I suspect this board is dead. That might explain why someone took the keyboard controller and oscillator and jumpers off of it. They were probably scavenging parts, but they didn't take the BIOS because they didn't have another one of these boards, so they left the BIOS, but they kept the keyboard controller and the jumpers and the oscillator for parts for other boards. Yep. I have a feeling this board, I think I've got enough evidence to say that this board was dead back in the day. And of course, I'm surprised they didn't like swipe the cache too. All right, I don't think the problem I'm having is because I don't have the right oscillator. I mean, I could try flipping the oscillator around. No, I clearly see where it's silk screened on the board. The oscillator was incorrect. I suspect the board is dead. Probably one of the chipset chips. All right, I guess we can double check that there's not like some overlooked physical damage on the bottom of the board, but it's kind of looking like yep, it is kind of looking like this board is dead. But it's possible that this might not be the end of my quest for a 386/486 board. Hey, Gut Bomb! Well, Jeremy says, I've started to swear eBay off. The last thing was the price of a nut to retain my ignition switch in my 1977 Dodge B300 van for $20. Only the nut. Well, that I don't know how many sellers are selling that nut. There is yeah. On the one hand, that does seem ridiculous for one nut, but on the other hand, how many of those nuts are left to keep those vans running? But yeah, I'm kind of eBay's making a number of changes that are making me less and less want to use eBay too, which is a shame because then how can I have Wheel of Regrets if I don't buy things on eBay? Although other marketplaces can be sources of regrets too. I will just say that. As I remember that I did buy something on Mercari that could totally be a regret once it arrives because there's a 50-50 chance that the seller just simply chucked it in a box. Oh! Oh! Oh, I got a new subscriber. Okay. Yes, thank you. Welcome. I could not read that name. Sorry. All right. I guess let's take a look at the bottom. No, I just if anyone's wondering, this is not a sponsored stream. I just happened to look for the first box that was convenient to set a motherboard on, and it happened to be a box from a certain PCB manufacturer. All right, I'm looking for any obvious signs of damage other than I do know, and this was in the picture, that this corner of the board is broken, but there's not any traces in this corner of the board. Even if it is a 4-layer board, there's not going to be anything running in that corner of the board. So that's not anything I'm concerned about. Looking to make sure there's like no physical damage. No, I don't really see any signs of physical damage actually. Other than it sure looks like someone has reflowed the oscillator. Okay, that looks. Eh. Okay, that looks weird. Okay, we're gonna take a closer look at that. Alright, folks, that's possibly vintage flux right there. I mean, I think that's an air bubble or something in the flux. I mean, I guess I could clean that flux up and... No, actually, it's academic. Ugh, okay. Okay, so I'm trying to orient myself to... Okay, so that's going to be pin 1 of the oscillator right there, which I think is a no connect or like an output enable. I suspect that's not used on this board, so that's probably a no connect. I think that's going to be like 5 volts in, given the size of that trace. I think that's also a no connect. And that one's... Oh, hello there. Yeah. Hmm. That is a bit concerning, but I don't think those traces are broken. But it does look like someone certainly abraded them working that board. Oh, and looky there, that trace has been abraded. So, alright. I don't want to do anything to this board. Because the thing is, if the seller were to try to... I think I've dealt with the seller enough. I think they're pretty fair. I'm actually going to go look at the auction photo. Ah, okay. Here's the thing. If they try to say I reworked the board, I can just make out the rosin flux, this flux in the original auction photo. I can point that out to them to just let them know that that flux is there in their photo, and hopefully they'll see it. So therefore, I am going to do absolutely nothing to that horrible flux. Yeah, it looks like I got someone else's project. Jeremy says that solder has a hole in it. Nah, I don't think that solder had a hole in it. I think that was a shadow. Or wait, or is that a hole? Well, Jeremy might be right. Well, still though, the thing is, I'm going to do nothing to this board until I try to return it. Other than I will see if that's actually a hole. Actually, I think that was a shadow, because if you notice, it's smaller now. Well, that bomb thinks it's a hole too. Are you sure? I think it's just a shiny spot on the solder, not a hole. See how the... Well, even if it is a hole, I'm not going to fix it because if I rework that, then if I rework it and don't fix it, then I don't get my money back because the seller could say I broke it. If I leave this here like this and the seller tries to claim I reworked it, I can point out that this was in their photo. So now, if I try to return this and then the seller says, keep it, scrap it, throw it away or whatever, then, well, it'll be back on the bench and that'll be the first thing I do is clean that flux up and take a close look at those traces again. But unfortunately, for the purposes of Wheel of Regret, actually, maybe I'll, actually, I'm going to do something first. I'm not going to request the return at this immediate moment. I'm going to let the seller know that I got a chance to test it and I can't get it to post. So, yeah, whoever soldered that needs more practice. All right. Okay, don't worry. I'm going to send a quick message to the seller like right now because they are on the West Coast. Close enough. They're in Salt Lake City. Close enough to the West Coast. So it's possible that if they don't want to pay return shipping on it, that they might just refund my money right now, and then we'll take another look at it tonight. But I got something else I can work on that does fit the theme of the stream. Wheel of Regret. It's not another one of those 386 or 486 motherboards. Yeah, I don't have another one of those tonight. But all right, let me send a quick note to the seller. Let me see here. Okay. There we go. I just sent the seller a quick message. It is quite possible that Jesse says if you're lucky the seller doesn't sleep. They are 2 hours behind, but yeah, it's also possible that they went to bed at 9 o'clock. At which case it won't be until the morning. But Well, it never hurts to send a polite message. Quite honestly, for what I paid for it, the seller might not even want to bother paying it back. Next up on Wheel of Regret, the segment of the show where I pay money to other people to get their junk and it may or may not work. We have a partial regret. I think I showed this on my stream. We have the Cirrus Logic video card that had the oscillators ripped out of it. And by ripped out of it, I mean ripped out of it. I mean, there's no two words about that. So now this was refunded, so this is not a full regret. Also, I have managed to locate with some trouble because not all these values are really that easy to find. I have managed to find the 3 values, although unfortunately I could not find a full oscillator in that value. So I gotta find where I put the adapter boards. Unfortunately, they are tiny boards, so it's quite possible I have misplaced them somewhere. Actually, they were small enough, they could have been in that PCBWay box. Nope. Okay. Well, first of all, I have to get the legs out of these through holes. And then, oh, no, by the way, no, the seller refunded my money for the video card and told me to scrap it. I had to track down these 3 oscillator values. Now, you see 4 here, but only 3 are needed. So I had to go find 25.175, 28.322. So there's 25.175. That one I found in a full can. 28.322. I found that one in a full can. But 32.514 megahertz, I could only find in half can. So, Jeremy says, if you have some component legs to spare, you could just extend what's there, but I'm not. Because, those legs are, those are mangled. I'm gonna do this right. This Cirrus Logic video card deserves better than to just have had the legs, like, yanked out of it. Yes. So, alright, let me warm up the soldering iron. Unfortunately, the legs are... Well, you know, actually, I might be able to use Claris. Alright, I'll warm up Claris, too. Tom Armstrong is saying, put a socket in if you have it. I do have some sockets somewhere. Let me see if I can find them while everything works. Oh, I thought I had some sockets. Oh, I found my Intel keyboard controllers. Oh, okay. Never mind. All right. Nope. I do not have the sockets for full can oscillators because when I ordered them, I ordered the wrong thing. So I'm just going to solder the oscillators to this card, and if the card doesn't work, well, c'est la vie. I'm not going. I'm not going to drill this card. Why would I want to drill this card? Oh, wow, this solder is really coming out. Just coming out. Oh, hi, Steve. I'm fixing someone's attempt to steal oscillators in a totally impractical way of reusing them. Oh, well, it would require me to get another Amiga. Also, where where did the Amiga talk come from out of the blue anyways. I must have missed a video somewhere. Oh, Steve fixed an Amiga tonight. Oh. Well, that explains why. Okay, that explains why people were half occupied. Believe me, I can tell when the chat kind of goes silent that there's something else going on. It could be dinner. Could be Steve rescuing an Amiga. Could be the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes winner being announced on TV. Could just be Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, I'm trying to get these sad component legs out of here. Oh, that's fine, Steve. No worries. YouTube doesn't make it easy to see scheduled streams, even when you try to do it in a way to make it easy. As Steve says, you may have already won a dead Reefa cap. Yeah, it's one reason why I try to only schedule streams a week out, because sometimes the way YouTube shows you videos on your feed, even though the stream is scheduled, it like doesn't show it at the top of the feed. So if you it seems like if you schedule the stream like way too far out, it's really hard for people to see that you've got it scheduled until like YouTube starts sending out the like 30 minutes prior notifications. I really wish YouTube would like fix that, because that's annoying. Although there's other things I wish they'd fix too. But what do I know? I'm just only have 462 subscribers. I mean, quite honestly, I wish they'd fix notifications, but what do I know? I only have 462 subscribers. 463 now, I think. Oh, that's okay. I realize that things happen, and the important thing is that that you're okay, and you stopped by when you remembered I was streaming, and I know that even if you completely forgot, that you'd say hi eventually. Because after all, I know, Gut Bomb, you want to see that. Oh, 466. Oh, cool. I know, Gut Bomb, you want to see that Mad Dog multimedia build. Well, maybe I had a couple people subscribe after I went live. Because I was at like 460, like 2 or 63 earlier today. Not that I like keep up with that number with the utmost of concern, because, well, quite honestly, I could care less about number games like that, but YouTube makes it a numbers game. Yeah, I'm closing in on 500. I'd like to get to 500 and maybe a little bit of change before VCF East. Because I don't know, Steve, if you've taken a look at the exhibitors page. Gut Bomb says, I need the Mad Dog. All right. So 28.322. Of course, actually, all you'd have to do is probably notice the coffee goal, and you'd probably realize that, yeah. There might be a reason why the coffee goal is VCF East 2024. 512, yeah. Oh, hi, Bruce. Welcome. Because, yes, for those of you that have joined late, my proposal for exhibiting at VCF East was accepted. So I've set a coffee goal to help me get there and to make sure my exhibit is a nice exhibit. And I'll will hopefully do a video soon on what I would like to exhibit so that folks know where the coffee goal money will go towards. Plus, also making sure I get there too. Because while I have the computers I would like to take, I don't necessarily have everything for those computers that I need to get them like running and um Jack says, not pictured. Justin's 5 foot tall live updating subscriber counter. Shh, Jack. I don't need folks knowing that I've got that in the front yard. Yeah, Justin's neighbor's like, why in the world does this dude have a huge number in his front yard? It says 466. That's not his address. All right, let me see if I can find the little PCBs that I've most certainly misplaced. Which, yes, did come from PCB Way, but they were not sponsored. They're not PCBs that I got through a sponsored video arrangement. They're just PCBs I got using some credit that I had on my account. So no, so this isn't a sponsored. It's not a sponsored live stream. I just happen to have boards from PCB Way that I ordered using credit from PCB Way. I'm just mentioning that for full transparency, so I won't. If this were a sponsored stream, I would have already marked it as such. But no, I just had ordered the PCBs with credit. The credit that was on my account. So, and then Miss. No, that's why I can't find them. Hold on. I know why I can't find them. It's because I put them with the video card and then quickly overlooked them. All right, so this board is actually this PCB was not designed to do what I'm doing with it, but yet looking at the way it works, it should totally be fine. So this is actually a board that was designed to adapt a surface mount oscillator to a 14-pin socket, but I realized that the way that it's laid out, it should also totally work to adapt a 8-pin to a 14-pin. So that's how I'm going to mount this half can into that full there. Yeah, Jeremy says better the front yard than the roof. Yeah, don't no, if I was going to put a big sign on my roof to fool people, I think I'd put a big sign on the roof that said like welcome to hmm, trying to think of something plausible that would scare people. Like it's like there's like some guy near some big airport that put on the top of his sign "Welcome to," and like the name of a city that's nowhere close to his house because his house is like on the approach path to the airport. Welcome to regret. Welcome to New York City. You thought it was bigger, didn't you? Trying to think of somewhere that would actually be believable. Because I'm pretty sure people would realize they weren't actually in New York City. But like, oh, there we go. Yeah. Actually, where I'm at, I should paint on the top of my house, "Welcome to Blacksburg." We'll let we'll let folks realize that I live just north of the University of Virginia, and Blacksburg is where Virginia Tech is. Tom says, "Welcome to Abbotsford." Jeremy says, "Welcome to the House of Regret." And yet, I was going for the the in-state rivalry option because I think that's what this guy did that had painted something on the top of his roof. I can't remember where he was, but it's like he had it was like he maybe used the name of the rivalry school or something. All right. Yeah. Yeah, Gutbum says you're I'm near Charlottesville. I'm not in Charlottesville, but yeah, Gutbum says that would be pretty funny to say "Welcome to Charlotte." Actually, when I did have a Charlottesville mailing address, that was quite annoying. It like you'd call customer service and they it's like they didn't want to type Charlottesville. So it's like I don't know how many times they would want to try to say, "Oh, you're in Charlotte." No, I'm in Charlottesville. There's a big difference there. But yeah, that's a good one, Gutbomb. Yeah, welcome to Charlotte. Oh, Tom Armstrong says that the funny thing is Abbotsford is the alternate airport for Vancouver. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that would be funny if Jeremy says, "Or welcome to Camden, Arkansas." Yeah, yeah. Sad Mac, welcome to Perth in Sydney, apparently. Oh yeah. I think that's it. Yeah. I think that might be what I saw. Yeah, I knew it was somewhere in the world, but yeah, totally painted that on the top of his house, and that's in the approach path to the airport. They did Welcome to Luton in London too. Yeah. Oh, actually, I need some flux here. Oh, sorry. It looks like I forgot. Yeah, I couldn't find my 14-pin oscillator sockets. I'm just soldering them. Soldering it to the board because, well, it's either going to work or it's not. And quite honestly, some of these oscillators are such an odd value that, well, this board doesn't work. I don't know where else I would use these oscillators. We'll put it this way. Since I've already had a, hopefully what'll be a minor eBay regret once the seller gets back to me. All right. So this oscillator is not going to sit quite as nicely on the board, but it'll be okay. Let me cut those two legs short, just so that everything fits. And then let me stick these pins down here. I'm making sure I'm in the right spot. And then here we go here. Actually, I got a better idea. Let me do this, because there's solder mask under there. Actually, let me do this. Okay. Okay. Keep changing my mind here. Actually, let's just do this simple. Okay. I know there's solder mask on the bottom of the PCB under this oscillator adapter, but the solder mask isn't the greatest on the board. So I'm going to put a little Captain tape under this oscillator, just to make sure that I don't short the pins where I don't want to. I guess maybe I'll actually put it on the PCB itself. There we go, right between the, all right. All right. Oh, you should, all right. And now I will stick this here. And I'll go ahead and solder one leg. There we go. So there's a method to my madness. Alright, so now I've got two legs soldered. And I got two legs that aren't connected. Because now I'm going to take two pins here. Trying to make this look close to factory as possible. All right. Unnecessarily, probably. All right, so now I got two pins there. I'll solder them on the bottom side here. All right. And now I will solder them on the top side. There we go. And now I'll double check that they're still soldered on the bottom side. There we go. I didn't mean to cut that close. All right. I'll leave those other legs just a little bit on the long side because all right, there we go. I now have the 25.175, the 28.322, and the 32.514 megahertz oscillator. Nope, no, Jeremy. This board does not get the 39 megahertz oscillator. Garth found a picture of the board for me, and that confirmed this board was never had the 39 megahertz oscillator populated. So I don't know why they have it on the board. Maybe they thought they needed it, but it was actually never populated on this model of the card. So I'm not going to populate it on this board because I don't know what populating that oscillator would do. I mean, theoretically, it would do nothing since it's not supposed to not being used, but I mean, yeah, I know. Like, Garth found a picture and it was not populated in the photo. And actually, there were no legs dangling out of the board, so I didn't have to clear anything out of this. There was never a component in there in the first place. I didn't have to remove legs there. It's not populated. I think the chipset can support up to 4 different oscillators, but I believe the BIOS has to initialize the chipset as to what the oscillators are on the board, and I suspect that the BIOS isn't going to initialize the 4th clock source, so I'm not going to go out and I'm not going to go buy a 39 megahertz oscillator just to see what it does, because Yeah, this board might have had its oscillators yanked out unceremoniously for some reason. It's not like someone was going to be able to reuse the oscillators they yanked out, because they pulled the legs out of the bottom of the oscillators. So I don't know what they were trying to do. Maybe they thought they were reclaiming silver or something. Maybe it was for faster RAM. Could have been. Could have been. Oh, you know, that was funny on Adrian's video that someone they sent the letter and said, you know, we've missed Rammy, and so Adrian pulls out Rammy, and of course, what's in their package? RAM. That was funny. Yeah, it could have been for faster RAM, but I think the oscillators are actually used by the chipset for the dot clock. So it derives the various dot clocks for the supported resolutions with the, like, apparently the 3 oscillators that are installed. But I believe the chipset supports 4. Because this is actually a VGA and CGA. Jeremy says, I was looking for a 32 megahertz crystal. I didn't find many available. Is it crystal or... Wait a minute. Were you looking for a 32 megahertz crystal or a 32 megahertz oscillator? So you need one of these. Old address or new address? I believe old. Okay. I'll can't guarantee I'll get it out tomorrow because they're calling for weather more snow tomorrow. I'll try to get it out by Monday. I think we'll probably be clear of snow by then. But yeah, I'll just mail that to you. I know you have something for me, and I think I did tell you several months ago I'd keep an eye out for one, and apparently one appeared in my basement. So there you go, Jeremy. I want to help you get that board back up and running. Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. All right. So this is the 386 board that I had been using. It should work. I'm just going to use it because it's already on the bench. So here's the video card I just repaired. I'll put it in the 8-bit slot where it belongs. So 1 megabyte of, I think I've got 4 megabytes of RAM installed. The video card, I think, has like, actually, I think this video card has a luxurious amount of memory for what it is. Oh, no, it just probably has the 256K required for VGA. Okay, never mind. I thought for some reason it had 512K. So I think this is just a standard VGA but it can also output to TTL monitors. All right. Of course, I also still need to test those video cards for another member of our community. All right. I'll test those real quick after I see if this card will work. Now, oh, there we go. So I'm going to plug the VGA cable in. But I don't know if this board is configured for VGA or CGA or EGA or whatever. Yeah, it's a cute little board. It's a PC chips board. All right. All right, as guess, fingers crossed. 3, 2, 1. VGA port had 2 holes blocked, actually. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to put the postcard in. And let me connect the speaker. All right. Luckily, this board is small enough. I think I can... Oh, there we go. Okay. Thing is, this video card may not be configured correctly. Of course, it also could be completely dead, and I might have just put 3 oscillators on a dead video card. All right. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Board is actually... My motherboard is posting. Okay, we're at 5. Oh, well. It didn't blow up. Test it with the trident. Yep. Funny you should say test it with the trident. Because that's exactly the video card I need to test. Alright. Actually, I should maybe pull the... should pull the BIOS chip off this video card and deoxid it. But the dip switches may not be... The dip switches on that board may not be set for VGA, so it's quite possible it was hanging because no monitor. Alright. Well, let's test it with the trident. Test it with the trident. Steve's not the only one that can come up with these jingles. Although, maybe that's a Joe jingle. Are there any tantalums on the card? Yeah, there were like 2 tantalums, but they didn't blow up. Well, that's an unhappy motherboard. Okay, so the motherboard's actually... Alright, so... Alright. Well, let me keep the video card out. Okay, well, let me try the other trident card I need to test. It is entirely possible that that trident card went bad. Or that I never tested it. Alright, 3, 2, 1. That's suspicious. I can't read the... Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Oh! I just realized something. Oh, CMOS checksum error. Oh, I bet my CMOS batteries. Okay, so this Trident card here is working. How many good Trident cards do I have these days? Sometimes I feel like that's a, like, national security related question. Like, how many bad video cards do we have to potentially send one of our adversaries? Oh, and now this Trident card's working too. Okay, I think I know what the problem was, or is. I suspect the CMOS battery is low on this board. This board doesn't like to power up with a dead CMOS battery. Let me just go ahead and put another one in it. All right. I'll test it later. Well, that's good. All right. Function 1, standard CMOS setup. Well, that's all probably fine. All right. So let me auto configuration with BIOS defaults. That's good. Okay, right to CMOS and exit. Okay, so this Trident card here works. Jack 68K, the National Strategic Trident stockpile in Justin's basement. At least that's what I want you to think. All right, let's see if this card net works now. Now that I got this motherboard, I don't know what it was problem was. Yeah, Tom Armstrong says ISA Trident cards are good to have too. Yes. What did I miss? I see we switched boards. I declared that first board from eBay was dead because I couldn't get it to post after trying multiple oscillators and multiple CPUs. So I went on to replace the oscillators in this video card because they had been yanked out of the board at some point, and now I'm trying to get it to my known working 386 board, which decided to scare me for a moment. I'm now trying to see if I can get the video card to show any signs of functionality, and so far I'm not seeing anything out of the VGA port, but that's why I also have my RGB to HDMI down here. So yeah, let's see here. Oh, RGB to HDMI. I gotta remember which HDMI port I have it plugged into. There we go. I've covered the bases. Don't see anything on VGA, so maybe I've got something on HDMI for the RGB to HDMI now. Oh, hold on. No, it does not appear as if that is the case. Okay. The RGB to HDMI is not acting like it has a sync signal. Therefore, I don't think this card is outputting. I don't think it's outputting anything on the TTL side. My VGA monitor also is not showing any signs that it's outputting anything on VGA. So, well, short of me finding the jumper settings for this card, Well, actually, there aren't many jumper settings now that I look at it. There's like a jumper. Oh, dip switch settings. That's what I meant. Well, what are these? I mean, there's this jumper block here, which, of course, yeah, great job, Justin. That's actually individual jumpers, and I just launched one down onto the floor. Ow! Well, luckily, I shocked myself on my chair and not the video card. All right. Yeah, I bet this video card is. I bet the video card is dead, and that's probably why. Huh. You know, maybe someone yanked the oscillators off of it because the card was dead. All right, let me see if I happen to maybe bookmark the picture or download the picture that Garth sent me. So, one moment, please. Let's see here. No, of course, that'd be too easy. It would be way too easy for me to have downloaded the photo. Of course. All right. Okay, I didn't download the photo. Let me see if I bookmarked the photo. It's a Max Logic MX 675B, I believe. All right. All right. Oh, interesting. Well, that would be an interesting turn of products they make. All right. So I searched for that model of video card, and the first hit was a smoke detector. Why did this company get out of making? Okay, that might be funny if they got out of making video cards and got into making smoke detectors. I mean, it's not completely inconceivable, but um, they both are electronic devices. All right. Oh, here it is. I found the picture. So on the picture that Garth sent me, that I luckily managed to find on the internet again, it appears as if my card has jumper 15 in the same place. Also, these jumpers are in the same place. However, the dip switches on the back of the card are not the same. Luckily, the picture is good enough that I can tell that my card, and I'm partly doing this for my records in case I need to rewatch my stream and go back to the way it's set. My card is set off, on, off, on, off. And according to the photo I found, it looks like it should be on, off, off, on, off, on. So on, off, on, off, on. Now, granted, I don't know what mode the card was set to when the photo was taken. It's on a Chinese website, I think. So and in fact, actually, it's only giving me the photo, not the. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, reseat the IC. Okay. All right. So I set this card the same way that the card in the photo is set. Luckily, the dip switch setting is. Luckily, the dip switches are. It was fairly clear if they were down or up, and all right. Okay. Let me contact clean. Okay, so I'll start with just reseating the BIOS with some contact cleaner. All right. Well, okay. There's two. I think there's two gals, or there's two gals on the board. I'll remove. They're socketed. I'll remove them and contact clean them as well. Everything else is soldered on the board. So. The crystals fix the card. No, I haven't seen any activity on the card yet. I am I am removing, contact cleaning, and reinserting the socketed components. And I just changed the dip switch settings to match a photo that we found from some Chinese website because I can't find the jumper settings for the board. So the next best thing is set the board like someone theoretically had the board working. So I don't know if that's going to be a VGA or a CGA or EGA or what setting. Theoretically, someone had that board working with those settings. All right, 3, 2, 1. And no. Hi, Dave. Welcome. Oh. Hold please, Vborg. Let me fix that problem for you. Hold one moment. I have to go to YouTube to do what I need to do here. I forgot to bring the stream up into Studio. All right. All right, Vborg, say hi in the chat. Let's confirm that that worked. Or whatever. Doesn't have to be the word hi. It could be the link you tried to paste, theoretically, that hopefully will work now. Yeah, it got filtered. Oh. I am not seeing any signs that there's a signal on the board. Okay. You should be able to paste the link now. Yeah, I don't think the crystals fixed the board. It does look like I soldered them, though. Yeah. Well, looking at the time, this is probably... Okay, so I'm not going to call this a failure repair just yet. But it's kind of looking like we'll have to come back to this card once I get the my oscilloscope back on the bench. Oh, neat. Okay, yep, there's Vogon's post. There's a photo from Recycled Goods. Oh, interestingly enough, the card from Recycled Goods has different settings. That is a very clear photo. Yes. Yeah, that's definitely the same card. All right. Okay. Well, given that I can very clearly see the card in the Vogons post, the Vogons post doesn't say what the settings are for, which mode, but it very clearly shows the picture. So it looks like the card from on Vogons is on, off, on, off, on, off. On, off, on, off. Also, this block of jumpers. So, there we go. And then this block of jumpers here is, and it's not like one jumper. It's like a whole bunch of jumpers. They are all moved over to the other side. I do not know what this block of jumpers does, but given the number of jumpers here, it is probably quite possibly physically changing which of the two outputs the signal goes to. I would have to I'd have to really do some tracing. Oh, actually, I can kind of follow some of the signals. Okay, this may very well be a setting for the TTL output, because it looks like some of those jumper signals of the jumper blocks here that I just moved, it looks like some of the signals are going straight to the DB9 connector. So this may very well be a TTL configuration. So anyways, all right, so we'll just go. And actually, it'd probably help if I saw my... Oh! Actually... Oops. Oh, interesting. Oh. Oh, please. I just realized that, my 386 board here is not consistently posting. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. We've got something. And that's on the VGA output. I think that is good. Okay, so there are two issues here. The first issue is my 386 motherboard is not reliably posting every time I turn it on. I've had that problem with this board ever since I got it. Apparently, nothing I've done fixes it. I've recapped the board. Okay, so it's an older board. It's getting senile, I guess. But apparently the... yes, Oh, wait a minute. And my RGB to HDMI is actually acting like it sees a signal. I bet that it's outputting a monochrome. I bet it's in monochrome mode, which is probably why it's orange. Yes. I bet those jumpers select between like MDA and CGA EGA. And I bet the dip switches probably configured the board for, well, the probably configured the VGA and probably also configured it for Amber on the VGA. But yeah, as VBorg says, it's an older code, but it checks out, sir. Yes. Okay, so I do have some life out of this video card. So it is quite possibly. All right, I'm going to save that photo. Because I think VBorg may have possibly just sent me the one of the photos from the auction I bought, maybe. VBorg, I think you might have found the auction that I purchased from. um, yeah, I think that. I don't know. That photo looks awfully familiar, though. Anyways, I guess now that I know that the card is not dead, then hopefully that will help figure out what's going on. Yeah, Tom Armstrong says, now to document the different settings. Was the only one listed. Yeah, I'm going to eBay now and all right, let's see here. Trying to remember how long ago I was when I bought this card. Actually, I might have bought this card long enough ago that the listings. Oh, yeah, that's the auction I bought. Well, I guess I do believe I might have made a best offer on the card. All right, so I guess there for a last minute finish, I got a picture out of the card. I'm now going to have to figure out the jumper settings because I'd actually like to get it configured to VGA mode or maybe CGA or EGA mode, but that's really cool that I at least managed to get it to work in one of the video modes. I might need to make sure that I soldered these other oscillators well. It's also possible that I don't know, something was misconfigured. Anyways, yeah, that's great. So at least I got, even though I had failure with the first motherboard, at least I got this video card to work. So for the cost of some oscillators, I have an 8-bit Cirrus Logic video card that I'll need to figure jumper settings out before I can use to its full potential. Anyways, all right, it is quarter after 12. Yeah, VBorg. I do know they are the correct frequency oscillator because I checked against the photo that Garth had found, which is that one from that Chinese website. So I'm pretty sure that I have the correct. I'm pretty sure I have the correct frequency oscillators because I looked on that photo before I ordered the oscillators. And yep, it was a 25.175, a 28.322, and a 32.514. And I am just going to double check since you mentioned it. And just double check this card. And I do have the 25.175 in the right spot. And I got the 28.322 in the right spot. And the 32.514 is in the right spot. And I can see that the dot on my oscillators matches the dots on the ones on the photo. So, yep, it does look like I have the correct oscillators in the correct positions. So it's probably something I have misconfigured or incompatibility or whatnot. So, anyways, yeah, Jeremy, you can DM me tomorrow. Yeah, V-board, the Vogon pick is super clear, just to double check. Yep. Anyways, yeah, I guess smash that like button, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you know when I go live next. So, anyways, I'm going to go ahead and draw the stream to a close because the area I am in the basement's up to like 53 degrees, but my feet are getting cold. So, anyways, time to draw the stream to close. So, with that, I'd like to wish everyone a great rest of your evening. Take care and God bless. Computerized Start is brought to you by my awesome patrons on Patreon and by your tips and memberships on Ko-fi. These and other channel supporters make my live streams possible. You too can become a channel supporter with tiers starting at just $1. Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you've liked what you've seen, subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or live stream. And as always, thank you for all your support. I hope to see you next time. And until then, take care.